Hey best friend, what's up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another story time for y'all. I know, look, okay, I got all the answers, just give me a second. This is why you need to follow me on Instagram if you're not already, because I'm gonna start like getting you guys really involved into future videos, like this poll that I took on my Instagram right before filming this video. I forgot my ears, didn't I? That's why you guys are so motherfucking confused, because it's usually, okay now. Meow, it makes sense.
You need to leave.
All right, just stick to fucking telling stories, Nikki. Also, another thing that happened on my Instagram, I got on the live really fast and I had so many of my Glamazons asking me if I was gonna do Glamourween this year, and I haven't done it in about 2 years now. And I was so shocked that like you guys remember, a lot of my OGs remember. So welcome back to Glamourween. I hope you guys are so excited and I hope y'all are in the Halloween spirit. You guys want me to wear costumes for every single one of the videos in this series. Buckle up, girl, because you know I haven't worn costumes in so long. Without further ado, let's jump into the spooky story time. Today we're going to be talking about a haunting at a downtown Denver apartment, and this was where David and I lived together. David has his own experiences here at this apartment. I'm going to tell you guys about that too. So if you guys are ready to hear about a downtown Denver haunting, keep on watching, girl, because we're about to jump right in. Once upon a time, your girl was like 18, 19 years old. It wasn't that long ago. If you know anything about the Denver area, we lived on 12th and Grant. I went ahead and Google mapped it for you because I want you guys to see this building so you can kind of visualize where I was at and why this place is most likely haunted. 12th and Grant is literally right next to the Capitol. A lot of the buildings down there are still very old, and like I'm talking like late 1800s, early 1900s, and they've kept the actual building, but now they serve different purposes, whether it's businesses or apartments. But a lot of them are apartments and townhomes and stuff like that. My mom and I found this cute spot, and it was very conveniently located, obviously, and it was so cheap. So a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment was costing us around $850 to $900 a month, okay? So we find this apartment, we move in together. I think the only downside of living down there is a lot of times your parking is extra. So on top of the rent, I had to pay $80 a month for an across the street parking, not covered by the way, because this was such an old building. They just had one garage. They couldn't expand it or anything, and there were not enough spots for all of the tenants. They had like a first come first serve thing going on with the garage, and I was so pissed because I got my new car and I had to park it across the street downtown Denver, and like I was just so paranoid that it was gonna get stolen or scratched, bitch, because people downtown are very crude when they're drunk from the club. Anyways, y'all, this is what the apartment building looks like. This is the street. Turn over to the left. This gym right here, this is where I used to live. As you can see, it is an older building. You got the AC units in the windows, but you can definitely look at it and tell that it has a lot of history and it is older. So this is where me and my mom were living, and I loved it. I'm gonna try my best to describe to you the inside of this building, that it had like this dark red, almost burgundy carpet throughout. It was a 3 or 4 story building. I know that I lived on the second. Everything is very small in this apartment, and like you're within feet of the other room at any point in time. Like a small kitchen, right? Like as soon as you walk in, right to the left, it's just like a small 2 counters, like not even a microwave, like just a really tiny kitchen. And all of the sinks had like the old school, you know, the knobs with like 4 prongs, and you turn it like this. They had them types of faucets, okay? Directly ahead of you is the living room. To the right was my mom's room and the bathroom. And then to the left was another room, and that was it. My mom and I were like kind of rebuilding our relationship after I had left home from high school. I just wanted to kind of save some money to get my own place because, you know, I had just gotten my car and stuff, and I wanted to figure out what I was doing with school. So we worked things out and we moved in together for the first time since I had left home. Everything was going great. My mom is my best friend, and she had her job that was literally downtown, and I had my job that was downtown as well. So our commute was super, super easy. Everything was fine. Now, weird things and feelings didn't start happening until we lived there for at least 2 or 3 months. I feel like I may have heard a few things, but I attributed it to the fact that we lived in an old ass building and that these are nothing but units, and you know, like you could hear everybody's business in there, you know what I mean? Definitely moments like, and it was mostly during the day where you would, like nobody was home, everybody was at work, and the building is so quiet. And all of a sudden we would hear, my mom and I started to hear the faucet in our bathroom turn on. Like you could literally, because it was like the older ones, you know, the ones that go like this, girl, and they go, and they like, you know, they make a squeaking sound when you turn it. So it's not just hearing the water, like you can hear the faucet. And we're like in the living room or in the kitchen, we're still within earshot of the bathroom, and we would hear that. We would hear the faucet, and my mom would look at me and I would look at her, and I'd be like, I'm not playing that, you play that, like you are the parent. La sangre de Cristo. So she would walk over there, open the door, and you know, like any other scary story, the faucet's not on. And it felt like we were going fucking crazy, but we wrote it off as like, it's probably somebody else's fault. I don't know. Like we kept writing it off. And then we would hear throughout the entire apartment was hardwood floors. And as you can imagine, they are old, so they creaked a lot when you walked on them. And we would hear the floors creaking out in the living room. It was the thing with the faucets, both in the bathroom and in the kitchen. I would hear the faucet in the kitchen turn on because my bedroom was literally right next to the kitchen. But one night I kept hearing that faucet turn on and off and on and off and on and off. And I was like, what the hell? And I kind of sat up. I was like, Mom, are you okay? Because I thought that my mom was getting up and down, up and down, up and down to get water. All of a sudden, the water turns off. I swear, y'all, the water turns off. And I was like, Mom. And so, you know, I get up, I open my door, and y'all, fucking pitch black. And like all I have to do is look around the corner, and that's where the kitchen is. Girl, I ain't even gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. I was too chicken shit to look around that corner. But I know my mother, she would not just come out here in the pitch black. She would always turn on the kitchen light, or like we had like the little light on the stove. You know what I mean? She would turn that one on, but she would never stand in a fucking dark in the dark ass kitchen. I was like, oh, it's no. I go back into my room. I shut the door. Like I had goosebumps from head to toe, girl, head to toe. And I was like, okay. Like, what if there is something wrong with my mom? So I literally got on my phone and I called her, and she answered. She's like, Nikki. And she was like, hello? And I could hear her, yo, and she was not in the kitchen. And I was like, Mom, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, why, Nikki? And y'all, keep in mind, this was like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, okay? And she was like, I got work tomorrow. Are you out of the house? And I was like, no, I just wanted to check on you because I kept hearing you get water from the sink. She was like, Nikki, I was dead asleep. She was so like annoyed because she's half asleep, and she was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about right now? I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it over coffee tomorrow. I'm so sorry. Please go back to bed. Next morning comes around. We have our coffee, and like right before we were both about to walk out the door to go to work, she was like, did I dream that, or did you call me last night? And I was like, nah, Mom, like I called you. I told her the whole thing, and I was like, I swear on everything, that's what I heard, Mom. Like I heard it. And like, because the kitchen's right here, I know what I heard. It was inside of our apartment. It was coming from our kitchen, and it was coming from our faucet. And like, I was just too scared. I was too scared to turn on the light or go around the corner. She just like busted out laughing. She was like, Nikki, you're such a little chicken shit. And I was like, look, okay, call me what you want. I am not about to be traumatized. Like, that thing is obviously standing in the dark because they don't want to be seen. So who am I to disrespect his boundaries? So at this point, my mom had already heard her share of things, and she was like, I know. She was like, I hear that too, mija. She was like, and I can't tell if it's because the building is old or whatever. She was like, but you know, we know how to pray this shit out of here. Now, my family, it comes from a long line of like prayer warriors, where they believe like when you get a new place, you're supposed to anoint the home and pray over the home and cast out any evil spirits that may have dwelled there from the past family or anything like that. So like my grandmas, my tias, my mom, myself, we would all go into the house and pray over it and pray blessings and all of that, right? So my mom looked at me and she was like, you know what we haven't done? And I was like, oh girl, I got you. And she was like, okay, when we get home from work. And I was like, all right, cool. So this seems very witchy now that I talk about it, but tell me not. Let me know if your families do that, because my family definitely does. So like, it is what it is. Sure enough, we come home. It's not like a seance thing. It really isn't. It's just like you're going from room to room and you're praying over it, and you open the windows and you like let it air out, and it's supposed to any evil spirits or negative energy gets out of the home. So we do that. It lasts about 15-20 minutes. It did make me and my mom feel better. We were like, okay, like we got a cleansed home. We just forgot to do that, like duh. Fast forward a few months and everything was pretty quiet. Like I stopped hearing the faucet in the kitchen. There were other things that happened, but it definitely could have been like our neighbor, somebody out in the hallway. So it wasn't anything substantial. Until y'all know my story about meeting my husband, David. I had already met him. We had been dating, and as most of y'all know, or if you don't know, my relationship with my husband happened like very fast. We decided to live together within 3 months of dating. Okay, so his lease was going to be up at his apartment. I said, why don't you come live here? And he said, all right, cool. And so he moved in his stuff. He ended up meeting my mom. My mom really liked David and she understood his position. Somehow, some way, I was able to convince my mother to like let him move in. I think it was probably because I was like almost 20 at this point. And she was like, all right, you pay your half of the rent. Like, fine, go ahead. So David and I stayed in one room. My mom stayed in the other. And we were all coexisting together, which was super weird at first. Now, the first incident that I remember that was really weird while David was around. I had my live-in boyfriend and my mom and I were not used to like just not being around each other all the time, and I knew that. So I would always try to like make mom-daughter time with my mom because now we have somebody else living in the apartment with us, you know what I mean? And some other daughter things. So we started going on like weekly or bi-weekly like mom-daughter dates. So one night came around and my mom and I decided to go to the movies together, and David was just going to be at the apartment by himself. David at this time really liked making music, so he was going to make music and like, you know, just chill out while my mom and I had a girls' night. It literally took us like 5-6 minutes to get to that theater, right? We drive a little ways, we go park, we're at the movies, and we're at the movies at the Pavilion. We buy our tickets. We get inside, we're at the concession stand. All of a sudden, I get a phone call from David. And like, David wasn't the type to like be bugging me while I was out with my mom or my friends. So I found it weird. So of course I answer and I'm like, hey, what's up, babe? And he was like, and he was just stuttering and like, he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, what's the matter? So, you know, I'm like, what is going on? And my mom just stops and looks at me and she was like, what? And David was like, I don't know if I need to go to the hospital. And I was like, what? And so I was like, please, elaborate. So already you mentioned hospital, like we're leaving. And I look at my mom and I'm like, we gotta go. David's hurt. And she was like, what? And like, we were not even out, y'all, for like not even 20-30 minutes. We really weren't. And she was like, are you serious right now? And at this time, she thought that I was just wanting to be around my boyfriend, you know? And she was like, really? Like, y'all are always around each other. Like, what happened? So I'm trying to get the story out of David. And I'm like, what happened? Like, why? What's going on? And he was like, I'm bleeding. And I was like, okay, okay, so now at this point, all I know is that you're hurt and you're bleeding and you're by yourself. Like, I'm thinking that somebody came in and like just like stabbed him. Somebody came in and just like tried to kill him. Like, I'm thinking the worst. And I'm like, what happened? He was trying to explain to me. He was like, I don't know. He was like, I don't know, babe. He was like, I was washing dishes. And from his recollection, he's washing dishes, that he went to go grab one of our mugs, and that like he felt like the minute that he grabbed it, busted in his hand, and all of the shards of glass went everywhere, and one of them cut him right here on his index finger. He still has the scar to this day. And he was like, babe, I don't know how it happened. And I was like, well, like, were you being rough? Like, did you have it under extremely hot water? And he was like, no. He was like, I'm telling you, he's like, I barely even grabbed it. Like, I hadn't even fully lifted it up yet. And it literally like shattered in my hand. I get that story and I'm like, all right, I'm on my way. Speed home. My mom is all irritated. And she was like, oh my God, I bet it's not even that bad. And so we get upstairs. I'm like panicking because I don't know how bad this is. Like, that, everything that he just said to me seemed really weird. So we walk into the apartment and there's David and he has paper towels over his cut, and it's quite a bit of blood, girl. It was quite a bit. And I was like, oh my God. But you guys, it wasn't the blood that scared me. I looked up and I looked at David's face and he was literally pale. And he was like standing in the living room and he was like, and he just looked at me and he was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And my mom like looked over into the kitchen. She was like, you broke a dish? And he was like, and he like looked at her and he was like, nah, like, he was like, I don't know what happened. Like, I didn't break it. And she was like, obviously you did. And so they kind of start going back and forth, and I was like, mom, I was like, just let me hear him out really fast. And she was like, oh my gosh. And she was like, Nikki, it's just a little cut. She was like, let me go get some band-aids, hold on. So she was not understanding the severity of the situation. David wasn't even freaked out about his cut. He was freaked out about how this happened. Sit on the couch and he tells me over and over and over like exactly what happened. And he was like, I'm telling you, I couldn't even have been grabbing that cup too hard because I hadn't even fully lifted it in the air, Nikki. He was like, I'm telling you, like, it literally just, it just shattered out of nowhere. Like, no water on it, no, like, he was like, nothing. He was like, nothing. And he was just I could literally tell that he was trying to wrap his mind around it and try to make it logical. And I sat there and I looked at him and I was like, I know what you're feeling, because that's how I felt when I heard shit going down in that kitchen and I didn't know what was going on or how it was happening. And I felt such a terrible presence in that kitchen that night when I was scared to look in there. And I immediately, my mind went to that. Like, I'm not above thinking that, you know, maybe there's a little bit of an unhappy spirit or presence here. So, because David is not one to like embellish or anything. So we ended up getting his hand cleaned up, and it turned out that it wasn't a really deep cut, it was just a really long cut. So he was bleeding like that because of the length of the cut on his finger. He had like this big thing of tape on his finger for work for the next few weeks until that healed. That was definitely just a really weird incident. And if you let David tell you, he will let you know right now, he's never been clumsy like that. He doesn't have any other scars on his body besides that one. Isn't that the craziest shit? No other scars, none. He's never had surgery. He's never had a broken arm. He's never done nothing, okay? This is his one and only scar, and like, that's weird. Okay, fast forward, I don't know how much time. One night came around, David and I wanted to go on a date. My mom was already out and about back then. You know, she would go out with her friends to like some of the bars and have like margarita night and stuff. So she was out and doing her own thing, right? And it's funny because when me and David went out to do our own thing, I was like walking down the sidewalk, and there was like, there was one of those restaurants with like the sidewalk patio, and we walked past and I see my mom with all of her work friends, and I was like, "Hi, Mom." And she was like, "Hi, Nikki." And like, she was over there giving me a sip of margarita, like over the balcony and stuff. But anyways, we had so much fun. We go to like this pizza place, such a good time. We didn't stay out too late this night. So I knew that my mom wasn't home and we were gonna have the place to ourselves. If I'm being honest, I think that's probably why I was like rushing through the day. I was like, come on. Anyways, girl, we get back to the apartments, right? And it is a secure building. Like, you can't just like walk in and out. You can walk through the first set of doors. That's where the mailboxes are. And there's another door in front of you, and that one you have to open up with the key. If you don't have the key, then you have to buzz the apartment that you want to go to, right? So we get through the first door, we get through the second door, and the stairs, we had one set going up this way. You turn, one set going up this way. You're on the second floor. That's where we live. The minute that we enter our hallway, we can hear a TV blaring. Okay, keep in mind, this is midnight. Is it crazy? No, but it wasn't usual. And we just hear a TV just really loud. And I'm like looking at David and I'm like, damn, we're gonna have a soundtrack and everything. Like, who is that? So at this point, I knew probably 2 or 3 of the neighbors down that hallway just by passing. So I'm like, who is that? Like, who's being rude? Like, is it Tony? Is it like this person? And so, you know, of course, we're going down the hallway and like, we're like, who the fuck is that? Like, why is their fucking shit so loud? As we're going down the hallway, we're getting closer and closer to our apartment. And both of us are like, fuck, like it's gonna be like right next to us, you know? The closer that we're getting to our door, the louder that TV sounds, until we are right outside of our door. I pull out my keys, I'm going to unlock it. David stops me and he's like, shh. And I'm like, and I know exactly what he's listening for. We literally put our ear up to that door. It's our TV. It is our TV. It is literally coming through the door. It is our TV. Like, it was not the person across from me. It wasn't the person to the right of me. There was nobody to the left of me. It was our door. It was coming from our apartment. Like, no questions asked. At first, I just got really disappointed. And I was like, fuck, my mom's already home. Like, she must have had like a short night out. It's like David could feel something. And he was like, nah, like, your mom already told us that she was going to be out pretty late tonight. And I was like, well, I mean, maybe she changed her mind. He was like, yeah, but since when does she watch TV in the living room? And when he said that, I was like, my mom had her own setup in her room, right? And like, she just didn't really like what she would hang out in the living room. She just never watched TV in the living room. She really didn't. Like, she liked her own space, and her DVR was in there. Okay. So we're having this conversation. I'm sticking my key into the door at this point, and I'm like, well, like, we're just gonna have to see. And I don't know why, like, I was not taking what he said seriously. There's 2 locks, one on the actual knob and then the deadbolt. So I always go deadbolt to regular lock so I can just twist the doorknob and go in, right? My key into the deadbolt, and the minute that thing goes and unlocks, silence. Like, it was like such a fucking eerie silence. I opened the door, and guess what? Darkness. The whole apartment was dark. I'm getting goosebumps again. The whole apartment was dark. The TV was off. The lights were off. Like everything was exactly how we left it. My mother was not home. And when I tell you, me and David, we just like our blood ran cold. We had nowhere else to go. Like, I know that it's scary. So instead, we decided to do was turn on all the motherfucking lights. Living room light, kitchen light, bathroom light, both the rooms, like lamps, like just all the light, because we were fucking scared. And he was like, I know you heard that. And he was like, I know I'm not fucking crazy. And I was like, no, like you're not, like I know I heard it. And it was at this point that he was like, babe, this bitch right here is haunted. And I was like, no. I was like, don't say that. He was like, have you been having like experiences and shit? And I was like, no. And so I told him like what I had been hearing before he moved in, but like how I wrote it off so many times. And y'all know David. If y'all know David, y'all know like, you know, his comedy. And he was like, so you had me move into a fucking haunted ass apartment? He was like, you didn't disclose that? And I was like, I didn't think it was a real thing. Like I really didn't. So ever since then, we knew for sure that something sketch was in that apartment. At this point in time, we are under the impression that this is just for the apartment, okay? Every single thing that we've been hearing has been in the four walls of this apartment until the third and final experience. Obviously, with how small this apartment is and where it's located, of course, we don't have in-unit washer and dryers. We have a laundry room that's at the end of the hall. You have to pay in quarters for the washer and dryer. You have to share it with everyone else on the floor, and they only had 2 pairs of each, 2 washers, 2 dryers. We would have to get up either super, super early or go super, super late because, you know, otherwise they were gonna be full. Then you would have the floor wars where you have people taking your shit out of the washer and like, I'm not here for it. So David and I got into the habit of like picking a time in the beginning of the week really late at night because obviously everybody else is, you know, in bed for work. David offered to go ahead and start the washer, and he took our laundry basket. He took, you know, everything he needed, and he picked up the detergent. I was on the couch. We were gonna watch TV when he got back. Now, from my perspective, usually like when we would go put stuff in the washer, it kind of took us a minute. You get down there and lock the door, like put everything in, pay for it, you know what I'm saying? But I felt like he was back exceptionally fast. And when he got back into the apartment, he was like and like breathing really heavy, and he like immediately shut the door and locked it. And I was like, he didn't have our clothes no more. He just had the basket, he just had the detergent, but he was like out of breath. You know, I'm looking at him and I'm like, what is wrong with you? He comes and sits next to me on the couch and he was like, it's getting worse. What do you mean? Something just completely threw the detergent out of my hand in the hallway. He described it as the most scary feeling, that there was a force behind it, and that the detergent completely flew out of his hand. It hit the floor, the cap wasn't screwed on right, so some of it leaked onto the carpet. He's telling me this and I'm like, no way. And he was like, babe, come here. So he brings me, he opens the door and he goes, look out there, look. So I like look out there, and sure enough, there is a fucking puddle of our detergent in the middle of the damn carpet, which isn't a bad thing. That thing needed a good wash anyway. He was like, okay, so you dropped it. And he was like, no. He was like, it was thrown out of my hand. Like, I don't mean to be cocky, babe, but like, when do I drop shit? Like, and he's right. David is one of the most coordinated people I've ever met. Like, I probably seen him just trip twice in our entire relationship. I have never seen him actually fall. He doesn't drop things often. Like, he's very solid. He played football all his life and he thinks that that's why. But in this moment, he just looked at me and he was like, you know, I don't drop things like that. So let me understand. So you're telling me that whatever is in here can also travel out there, or maybe there's something out there, or like, is it this whole building at this point? And he was like, I don't know. Right after this, we made the decision to move the fuck out of that place. And we were out of there within the next month. Like, there was just like no peace there. There was always fights happening. You know, it just kind of seemed very chaotic in that apartment building and in that apartment. Not good vibes at all. We went to this new apartment for a new beginning and we were so excited, and you know, this is gonna be our first place, just he and I. We move in and then we find out that there's something wrong with this new apartment too. I'll tell you guys about that in my next Glamourween story time, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if this has ever happened to you. I felt like it got worse as soon as David got there. So I don't know if like, you know, the ghost was just beefing with him. I feel like he had a beef with David. What do you think? What has happened to you that really gave you chills up and down your spine? Let me know your stories down below. Please don't forget to show that like button some love. And of course, subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more videos like this. Now, if you guys are into more true crime and investigative videos, definitely check out my OnlyFans. I do talk about some gory true crime stories over there as well. We have a really good time. It's called Kush and Crime. Yes, you heard that right. Kush and Crime. If that's something you're interested in, head over there, check it out. Let me know your thoughts. I do give away 10 free links every time I post, and I will be posting on a weekly basis over there as well. So I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here for Glamourween. Stay spooky, and I will see your fine ass in my next video. Peace out, y'all.